Hi Reddit. I'm Cindy. I'm 27, and I just cut off the most emotionally exhausting relationship I've ever been in with a guy who didn't want a girlfriend. He wanted a live-in wallet and a free babysitter. I met Josh, 32, last year through mutual friends. Divorced, one kid, 7-year-old son named Milo. At first, I thought he was sweet, attentive, said all the right things. I wasn't looking to date someone with a kid, but he swore, "I don't expect you to be his mom. Just be around. He's chill." That was a lie, but I didn't know it yet. Fast forward 3 months, and I'm picking up Milo from school because Josh got stuck at work. Again, I'm buying groceries. I'm paying for takeout. I'm watching his kid every other night while he plays Call of Duty for hours in the next room. And when I brought it up, "You're so good with him," he'd say, "You're a natural. You're all he's got when I'm busy." "I'm not his mom," I told him once. "Yeah, but you love us, right?" That's how he twisted everything. Every protest became guilt. Every time I said, "I need a break," he'd respond with, "So you want to abandon us?" But the breaking point? It wasn't the babysitting, or the emotional guilt trips, or the time he borrowed my credit card to buy Milo a Switch because his ex never gives him anything. No, it was when I came home from work and found my bank statement open on the kitchen table. He didn't even try to hide it. "You make decent money," he said casually. "If we're going to be a real team, we should start pooling things. Shared expenses, household budget, that kind of thing. What part of this team involves you paying anything?" I snapped. He looked at me, dead serious. "I pay with time. I take care of stuff around here." Reddit. This man had not touched a single dish in 3 weeks. He hadn't bought his own groceries in months. And the worst part? He was teaching Milo that this was normal, that women were supposed to do everything while men managed things. I couldn't unsee it. I packed a bag that night, went to my sister's. Josh blew up my phone. "You're breaking Milo's heart. You're walking out on a family. You're choosing money over love." "No, Josh. I'm choosing self-respect over being used. But trust me, you don't know how bad it got yet. Because what he pulled after I left, that's when it turned from manipulative to dangerous." 2 days after I left Josh, I got a text from a random number. "Cindy, this is Milo's school. You're still listed as his emergency contact. Is there someone else we should call now?" Wait, what? I never signed up for that. I was never his legal guardian, never filled out forms, never gave permission. But apparently, Josh had put my name and number down anyway, without asking. I called the school immediately. "I'm not his parent," I said. "I'm not even with his father anymore. I should not be listed on anything." They apologized, said they'd fix it, but they also mentioned something that made my skin crawl. "He said you've been involved since the beginning and that you'd be taking care of Milo if anything happened." Taking care of? I hadn't even unpacked my stuff at my sister's, and this guy was still trying to dump responsibility on me after I left. I texted Josh, "Take my name off every form. I'm not your free childcare. I'm done." His response? "So now you're just abandoning a child who loves you." Got it. Manipulation mode activated. But this time I didn't bite. Later that night, my sister handed me her phone. "Why is your ex texting me?" Josh had messaged her on Facebook, whining about how I was being cold, how Milo cried for Cindy every night, and how he just wanted to talk, but she won't pick up. He even asked if my sister could convince me to meet him in person. Yeah, that's how desperate it got. He couldn't get to me, so he tried recruiting my family. I called him and laid it down flat. "You used me. You lied about how involved I was with your kid. You stole my credit card. You gaslit me into thinking I owed you something. And now you're playing the victim?" "I didn't steal. It was for Milo. You never even asked." Silence. Then he mumbled a thing that nearly made me throw my phone. "You're just bitter because no one ever needed you this much before." That was it. The next day, I froze my credit, changed all my passwords, got my number switched, blocked every known account of his, even emailed the school again to confirm my name was off everything. But Josh didn't stop. A week later, he posted a picture of Milo on Facebook, holding a handmade card that said, "I miss Cindy. Tag me." Captioned it. Some people say they care until they're needed. Comments were brutal. Friends of his, clueless, started piling on. How could she leave a kid like that? Wow, so heartless. Some people just aren't built for real love. He knew exactly what he was doing, and I knew it was only going to get worse from here. After the Facebook post went up, my inbox lit up with messages from people I hadn't spoken to in years. "Hey Cindy, are you okay? I saw Josh's post. Is it true you just walked out on the kid? I always thought you were better than that. I didn't even know half these people." Turns out, Josh had gone on a full-blown pity campaign, demeaning people, posting cryptic stories like, "Some people only care when things are easy. Love means nothing when you're disposable." Disgusting. But here's what pissed me off the most. He was using Milo, weaponizing his own son to make me look like the villain. And Milo, poor kid, probably had no clue what was happening. He was just a prop in his dad's tantrum. My sister was livid. "You want me to respond to these people for you?" No, that's what he wants. He wants drama. He wants a fight. I stayed quiet, at least publicly. Instead, I started documenting everything. Screenshots of his posts, texts he'd sent me after I left, photos of receipts he'd charged to my card without permission, the message to my sister, even the email from the school confirming he listed me as Milo's emergency contact without my knowledge. I wasn't just defending myself anymore. I was preparing for war. Then one night, I got a call from a restricted number. I never answer those, but something told me to pick up. It was Josh's ex Milo's mother. "Hi, I know this is out of nowhere, but I think we need to talk." She sounded exhausted, defeated, but direct. "I saw the Facebook post. I'm sorry. That's not okay." I was caught off guard. "Wait, you're not mad?" "No, I've been in your shoes." She told me she and Josh split 3 years ago after he did the exact same thing to her. Manipulated her, guilted her with a kid, drained her financially, then played victim when she finally left. He told people I abandoned Milo. Same lines, same tactics. And when I started dating someone else, he tried to make it look like I chose a man over my own son. We talked for an hour. She told me she'd been trying to get full custody for months, but Josh always made himself look like the stable parent. Until now. "If you're willing to share what he did to you," she said, "I'll bring it to my lawyer. This could help protect Milo." That was the moment I stopped feeling guilty. Because this wasn't about Josh being a bad boyfriend. It was about him being a chronic manipulator. A man who used his son like a pawn to trap women into emotional and financial servitude. And now, someone was finally holding him accountable. Not just for me. For Milo. The second I agreed to help Milo's mom. Her name's Danielle, by the way. It felt like everything finally snapped into focus. This wasn't about revenge anymore. It wasn't even about clearing my name. It was about making sure Josh never got the chance to do this to someone else again. Danielle's lawyer asked me for a statement. I wrote a 6-page timeline, every detail, every incident, every financial transaction Josh manipulated me into. I backed it up with screenshots, receipts, text messages, photos, even a Facebook post of Milo holding that guilt trip card. The lawyer called it a gift. Apparently, family court sees these tactics all the time. Men using kids to emotionally manipulate partners, playing devoted dad in public while offloading all parenting behind closed doors. But rarely was it documented this well. "You have no idea how rare this is," the lawyer said. "This could shift custody." Danielle cried on the phone when she heard that. "He doesn't even want custody," she told me. "He just wants a win. Milo deserves better than being a trophy in a power game." Meanwhile, Josh? Still posting. More cryptic crap like, "Funny how the ones who said they'd never leave always vanish when things get real. All I wanted was a family." Guess that's too much to ask. A few of his followers ate it up, but most of them had gone quiet. He was overplaying his hand, too many posts, too much drama. It stopped looking like pain and started looking like obsession. And then came the best part. Danielle's lawyer hit him with a formal custody modification filing and included my statement in the packet. It caught him completely off guard. "Wait, Cindy's working with my ex?" "Yep, the ex-girlfriend he tried to publicly shame. The one he used to babysit his kid while he sat on the couch. Now I was Exhibit A. He showed up to my job. I don't know how he found out where I worked. I'd been careful. But one afternoon I looked up, and there he was, standing in the lobby, arms folded. My stomach dropped. "You're trying to take my kid away from me?" "I'm trying to help protect him. From you." He stepped forward. "Way too close. You're bitter. You can't stand that I moved on." "You never moved on." You just moved your leeching from one woman to the next. Security was already moving. I wave him off. Leave, Josh. You're done. And the court's going to see right through you. He left, but not before whispering, "You'll regret this." I didn't. Not then. Not now. Not ever. Court day came faster than I expected. Danielle looked nervous but focused. Her lawyer was calm, collected, and armed with a binder thicker than a phone book. Josh, on the other hand, walked in like he was auditioning for a custody-themed reality show. Clean shave, blazer that still had the tags tucked into the sleeve, holding Milo's hand like they were best friends, even though, according to Danielle, he hadn't spent more than 2 full days with his kid in the last 2 months. Classic performance mode. He made eye contact with me when he sat down, smirked, and mouthed, "Nice try." "Yeah, okay." The judge entered. Everyone stood, and then it got real. Danielle's lawyer went first. She laid out everything. Josh's documented history of forcing partners into unpaid parenting roles, his financial manipulation, his refusal to take responsibility as a parent, my full testimony with dates, screenshots, and receipts, the fake emergency contact form listing me as guardian without my consent, the public Facebook smear campaign using Milo's face. And then she dropped the bomb. "Your Honor, my client is not requesting that Mr. Redacted lose all visitation. She is requesting that he receive supervised visitation only until he can prove a consistent parenting schedule, financial stability, and attend a co-parenting course." Mic drop. Josh's lawyer looked blindsided. You could tell they expected a fight over weekends or school pickup, not a reputation blowout backed by documented manipulation. But the real comedy started when Josh was asked to respond. He stood up, straightened his blazer like he was about to give a TED Talk, and said, "Your Honor, I just want what's best for my son. That's always been my focus. These women, they're twisting things to make me look bad because they're jealous." Jealous? Of what? Your part-time gaming schedule and full-time victim complex? Then he said it. "Cindy's just bitter because she wanted more from me than I could give." Even the judge raised an eyebrow. The lawyer leaned in and said, "Let the record reflect that Mr. Redacted believes testifying about unpaid child care, unauthorized use of financial accounts, and being listed on legal documents without consent is a sign of romantic disappointment." I didn't even have to speak. My testimony had already been submitted in full. But the judge turned to me anyway. "Miss Cindy, do you have anything to say for the record?" I nodded. "I just want to say I cared about Milo. Still do. But Josh never wanted a partner. He wanted a substitute for a nanny, a bank account, and a co-parent. He didn't want help. He wanted control." Silence. Judge scribbled something, leaned back, and said, "I've seen enough." The judge didn't drag it out. After reviewing everything, my statement, Danielle's lawyer's evidence, the school email, the screenshots, even the damn Facebook posts, she laid down the ruling like a hammer. "Mr. Redacted, until further notice, you will receive supervised visitation with Milo at a neutral facility. You are to attend a parenting course, submit proof of employment within 30 days, and you are prohibited from posting your son's image online until this case is closed. Any violation will result in immediate suspension of visitation." Josh sat there frozen, like he'd just watched someone kill his ego in real time. Then he did what every narcissist does when they lose. He exploded. "This is Bull's *****. She's lying. They both are. This is a setup. Security was already moving. You're siding with her? She abandoned him." He pointed at me. I didn't flinch. Danielle reached for my hand under the table, squeezed it. The judge didn't even blink. "Mr. Redacted, you are dismissed. Any further outbursts will be held in contempt." He stood there breathing heavy, fists clenched like a cartoon villain who just got his master plan ruined by a Scooby-Doo reveal. Security escorted him out, and the second that door shut behind him, I exhaled. So did Danielle. Outside, she hugged me. "I never could have done this without you. You did it. I just backed you up. Still, thank you. I finally feel like Milo has a chance to grow up around people who give a damn." I didn't hear from Josh for a while after that. No texts, no threats, no surprise pop-ups at my job. but I did hear about him. Apparently, he told people I got him banned from seeing his kid. He spun it as some dramatic two exes teaming up to destroy him story, again with the martyr act. But fewer and fewer people were buying it now. The truth was out there, and once it's out, it spreads fast. Danielle said even some of his family started pulling away. His sister reached out and apologized to me. Said she never knew it was that bad. Said she's cutting ties until he gets help. That's when it clicked. Josh wasn't just losing custody. He was losing control. And for someone like him, that's the worst punishment of all. I should have known Josh wouldn't go down without one more sad little grab for control. 3 weeks after the ruling, just when things had finally started to settle, I got a package. No name on it. Plain brown box. No return address. It was left at the front desk of my office with a note. For Cindy. My stomach dropped. I opened it slowly, half expecting something insane, and I wasn't far off. Inside was a small stuffed dinosaur I'd once bought for Milo. A framed photo of the three of us at the zoo. A folded letter in Josh's handwriting. It read, "Milo misses you. You don't have to talk to me, just him. You were the closest thing he had to a real mom. He asks about you every day." And at the bottom, "Let's meet. Just one time. You owe him that." No, Josh. I don't owe you, or him, anything. Let me make one thing clear. I cared about that kid. I truly did. But Josh wasn't looking for closure or peace. He was looking for a crack to crawl back through. One meeting, one phone call, one opening to start spinning his narrative again. He wanted access to my time, my emotions, maybe even to rebuild his story, that I was still hanging around, still attached. I wasn't falling for it. I called Danielle right after. He's trying to drag me back in. Through Milo. Yep, classic. He used to do the same thing with me when I dated someone new. Suddenly, Milo missed me more than ever. She sighed. You know what's funny? He barely asks about you. Not in a mean way. Milo's just living his life. Kids move on when they're safe and supported. That hit harder than I expected. Not because it hurt, but because it proved how fake Josh's whole guilt trip was. It wasn't about Milo at all. It never was. I kept the stuffed dinosaur. Not for Josh, for me. To remind myself what I'd walked away from. And why. The rest? Straight into the trash. No drama. No messages. Just a clean cut. A week later, Josh tried one more time. A burner Instagram account. Fake name, 0 posts. Followed 3 people. DM me. You'll never find someone who loves you like I did. I replied. Thank God. Blocked. And that, Reddit, was the last time I ever heard from him. But it wasn't the end of the story. Because what Danielle told me next. That changed everything about how I saw him. A few days after I blocked the burner account, Danielle called me. She sounded rattled. Cindy, I need to tell you something. And it's a lot. I stepped outside my office and braced myself. So, I got a message from a girl on Facebook. Random account. She said she used to date Josh. Briefly. Like back in 2020. Okay, not surprising. Josh had a long track record of short relationships. She said he tried the exact same routine with her. Love-bombed her fast, then pushed her to spend time with Milo, then started accidentally forgetting his wallet. She caught on quick and dipped. Sound familiar? Here's the part that made my stomach turn, Danielle said. The girl said she ran into Josh at a gas station last week. Wait, what? She said he tried to corner her. Was all charming at first, asking if she wanted to catch up. Then he said, "My son still remembers you. You could have been a great mom." That line again. Like it was some recycled weapon he pulled out of his pocket every time a woman tried to leave. Danielle continued. The girl told him to back off. He got defensive. She drove off. But later that day, she found a weird note on her windshield. Scribbled handwriting. It said, "You were good for us. Think about coming back." Creepy as hell. She didn't report it, Danielle added. Didn't want to escalate drama, her words. But she gave me permission to use her story in court if it helps. She just wants him out of her life permanently. I was speechless. It wasn't just me. It wasn't just Danielle. Josh had a script. Target. Rush in. Guilt. Control. Then flip the narrative if they leave. I felt sick, but I also felt vindicated. This wasn't an isolated mess. It was a pattern of manipulation with real emotional fallout. Danielle's lawyer immediately added the woman's statement to the file. Didn't even blink. This strengthens everything. Shows behavior. Shows it's not reactive, it's intentional. Danielle texted me later that night. I honestly think he's dangerous. Not violent, just emotionally predatory. Like he feeds off making people feel stuck. I couldn't agree more. Josh didn't care about relationships. He cared about ownership, about control disguised as love. But this wasn't over, because as the final custody hearing approached, Josh made one last desperate play. Not in court, but in public. A stunt so bold, so calculated, I had to reread the message 3 times just to believe it was real. And it wasn't just aimed at Danielle. It was aimed at me. 3 days before the final custody hearing, I got a ping from an old coworker. Cindy, you seen what Josh just posted? My heart sank. I'd blocked Josh everywhere, but I still had mutuals who hadn't. And apparently, Josh had just uploaded a public Facebook video titled, "The Truth They Don't Want You to Hear." Jesus. I borrowed my sister's account and pulled it up. And there he was, sitting in his car, eyes red, fake tears loaded up, holding a folded drawing in his hand. I wasn't going to speak out, but I can't stay silent anymore. My ex is trying to take my son away. My former girlfriend turned on me. And now, they're teaming up to destroy me. Then he held up the drawing. It was from Milo, a stick figure drawing with 3 people, a kid, a man, and a woman. Crayons. Scribbled. This is me, Milo, and Cindy. He drew this last week. No, he didn't. That drawing was almost a year old. Milo had given it to me after we went to the zoo together. I still had the original, folded up in a box. He used a photocopy of it, manipulated it, and now he was pushing a sob story to the public like I'd abandoned a child who still loved me, days before a court decision. The video got shared over 200 times in the first 2 hours. Some people commented support. Others smelled the BS. But Josh wasn't done. In the caption, he tagged Danielle's full name and mine. Accused us of turning his son into a pawn, said we were out to ruin a father's life, and claimed he had evidence of emotional abuse by both women. None of it true. All of it intentional. He wanted a public reaction right before his hearing. He wanted leverage. He wanted to make us look like monsters. Instead, he made himself look unhinged. Danielle's lawyer immediately filed for an emergency order, not just for defamation, but for violating the court's temporary ruling that prohibited Josh from sharing Milo's image online. He broke it on video, posted a fake narrative, shared a minor's private drawing to manipulate public opinion. The judge responded that same day. This is a clear violation. We'll address it formally in court. The final hearing hadn't even started, and Josh had already torched his own credibility. But it wasn't until we walked into that courtroom and saw what the judge was holding that I knew Josh had finally, completely, and permanently buried himself. The final custody hearing didn't feel like a court case. It felt like a funeral, and Josh was burying his own reputation. Danielle sat calm, her lawyer ready with the updated file. Me? I was just there as a witness. But when I saw the judge walk in holding a printed screenshot of Josh's Facebook video, I knew he was cooked. She opened immediately with it. Mr. Redacted, 3 days ago you posted a video online in direct violation of this court's previous ruling. You shared your child's image, involved third parties, and made defamatory claims while litigation was still pending. Care to explain? Josh stood up. Try to look noble. Your Honor, I was simply defending myself. I've been silenced. They've painted me as a villain. I needed to speak my truth. The judge leaned forward. You don't get to speak your truth when it involves a minor child, against explicit court instructions. I wasn't aware that counted as a violation. It was in writing. You signed it. You're either lying or admitting you didn't read a legal document. Boom. His lawyer didn't even flinch. He knew it was over, too. Then Danielle's lawyer presented the full list. Josh's pattern of manipulative behavior with multiple women. The false emergency contact listing, financial manipulation, the unauthorized social media stunt, and the forged timeline of that crayon drawing Josh claimed was recent, which Danielle proved wasn't. And then, the final nail. She presented a notarized letter from the other ex-girlfriend who Josh tried to pull back into his orbit last month. The one he cornered at the gas station. The judge read it slowly, then looked up at Josh like he was a roach. I've seen many parents try to manipulate the system, but very few do it this obviously, this recklessly, and this consistently. Final ruling. Danielle received full legal and physical custody. Josh was granted monitored visits twice a month. No overnights, no unsupervised time. He was barred from posting about his son or Danielle online, and he was ordered to attend court-mandated therapy. One wrong move, and the judge said visitation would be gone completely. Josh didn't say a word on his way out. Didn't look at me. Didn't look at Danielle. Just stormed past everyone like the world owed him something. But the rest of us? We walked out lighter. Danielle hugged me tight. We did it. He can't touch us anymore. He never could. He just tricked us into thinking he could. I went home, lit a candle, and finally, after months of gaslighting, guilt-tripping, and manipulation, blocked every last trace of him from my life. No more wondering what he was posting. No more worrying about what people thought. No more doubt. Just peace. And that little stuffed dinosaur from Milo? Still on my shelf. Not because I missed Josh. Because I survived him.